Francis Xavier Engineering College, Vannarpettai, Tirunelveli, is one of the best autonomous NBA accredited institutions in Tamil Nadu. The college is awarded with gold category by AICTE CII survey for 2 consecutive years. FX provides holistic education and enhanced skill training to make its students industry ready. Unbeatable placement record, cutting-edge research, state-of-the-art applied labs are the hallmark of FX Easy. Get enrolled and experience unlimited learning.
A very good morning to all the participants present here. Knowledge is power and information is liberating. Education is a premise of progress in every society, in every family. A quote by Kofi Annan. We welcome you all present here in spite of the hard times imposed by the COVID-19 situation to gain knowledge from this webinar on techno-operational expertise through Agile methodology, DevOps for budding engineers. I would now like to invite Mrs. Chitra Evangeline Christina Ma'am, Assistant Professor of EC Department, to commence the session with a prayer.
Prayer. Let's all bow down and head for prayer. Our loving Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for this moment you have graciously given us to look your face, Lord. As your word says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, seek your face before the start of this webinar. Bless this event and bless the resource person, bless the Victoria from Germany for that. We also commit the organizers and activities of this webinar in your mighty hands. Broaden our knowledge and deepen our understanding of what we are about to hear. We ask all these things in the most precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Mrs. J. Friska, ma'am, Head of the Department of ECE, to deliver the welcome address.
We can do all things through Him who strengthens us. Welcome and thank you for being here today for Industry Expert Series Exciting Session 5 on Techno-Operational Expertise through Agile Methodology, DevOps for Budding Engineers by Ms. Plessy Victoria. First of all, I would like to place my heartfelt gratitude to Lord Almighty for His manifold blessings and divine guidance on all of us. Next, I would like to record my sincere thanks to the management of Francis Xavier Engineering College for being with us and motivating us in all our journey towards excellence with ethics and reaching the unreached. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. He is none other than our General Manager Development, Dr. K. Jaykumar sir. May I now take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Jaykumar sir for his constant support and directions for successfully organizing all our events. We welcome you, sir. I feel honored in welcoming our respected principal, Dr. V. Velmurugan sir, the captain of our FX ship, a meticulous planner to this greatest gathering. We welcome you, sir. I feel extremely delighted in welcoming speaker of today's session, Ms. Plessy Victoria, Solution Architect, Senior Consultant, HCL Technologies, Munich, Germany, who has accepted our invitation and joined with us to share her knowledge, experiences, and expertise with us. We welcome you, Plessy. I would like to welcome the coordinators of today's event, Mrs. Niranjana Madam, Mrs. Chitra Evangeline Christina Madam, Mrs. Francie Irdayarani Madam, Assistant Professors, Department of ECE, for their considerable effort in connecting a distinguished resource person with us. I would like to welcome all the participants who have signed with us from various academic institutions, industries, students across the states and across the globe to get practical insights. We would like to record that for today's exciting session, we have received 1,000+ responses. We wish to congratulate all the participants for your commitment and active participation, and we wish you a fruitful session ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Mrs. Francie Irdayarani, ma'am, Assistant Professor of EC Department, to introduce our resource person for today.
Honorable Chief Guest, distinguished professors and most precious participants, I feel proud to give a brief introduction about our Chief Guest, Ms. Plessy Victoria, Senior Consultant, HCL Technologies, Munich, Germany. She received her BE Electronics and Communication Engineering degree from Anna University in the year 2016 and got selected one among the top 100 candidates to work as a software developer at Happiest Mind Technologies, Bangalore, for about 2 years from 2016 to 2018. Further, she moved to Germany and completed her master's degree on high integrity systems from Frankfurt University of Applied Science in the year 2020. While doing her master's degree, she joined at LinkedIn and served as a campus editor at Frankfurt, Germany for 1.5 years from November 2018 to December 2019. Now she is working as a senior consultant at HCL Technologies Germany to work for Eon Energy Service Sector, which incorporates DevOps on the development and operational service from 2019 to till date. She has more experience on programming languages like AngularJS and JavaScript, web tools and frameworks like RStudio, CSS, HTML5, and database like MySQL, Oracle 10G, and MongoDB. Due to her more interest on information technology, today she'll give a detailed lecture on DevOps and Agile methodologies that are implemented in the fast-growing IT field to deliver an uninterrupted and quality service to customers. So having this young and energetic personality as our chief guest for this webinar is a real reward for us. My sincere thanks to her. Thank you for the opportunity. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I cordially invite our young and dynamic resource person, Ms. Blessy Victoria, to begin her session.
Hello everyone, it's Blessy here. Today we are going to see about Agile framework and DevOps that is being used in the rapidly changing IT industry these days. So here, as you can see on my first slide, I've mentioned it's a leap towards enabling flexibility and control. So when you see flexibility and control, these two are two different words as such. Like if a person is flexible, I don't think he can be considered as a person with control. So these two are two different things. Let's see how we have achieved in a good control over the flexible nature by implementing Agile framework and DevOps. So before jumping into the session, I would like to thank Francis Xavier Engineering College for inviting me over. I would like to thank Dr. Vale Morgan, Mrs. Niranjana, Mrs. Francie, and Mrs. Friska, and Mrs. Shitra for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak to the student community on the fast-growing techniques that are followed in the IT field. So before jumping into my session, I would request you to assume two things on your mind, maybe three things on your mind. Think about business service providers and customers and the developers and the testers that are working on the ground to provide deliverables for the customers based on the requirements. So these are the people that would be involved throughout my session. So you shouldn't be questioned when I say service provider, it's this guy, and business customer, it's the other guy, and the developing team or the testing team or the operations team, they are the people who are actually working on the ground. So there are three different aspects that you need to remember. So let's jump in. Here we can see the agenda for today. I will start with a brief introduction about me, and we'll jump into DevOps. That is nothing but development and operations. And we will see more about DevOps and the metrics that I use to calculate DevOps in a project, and the different project management methodologies that are being used, Waterfall and Agile, and the different ways of working that is being followed these days, tiered or Swarm. And I will give you a summary about the brief business key features that are necessary, and some of the benefits of a virtual distributed Agile framework. As you all know, in this pandemic situation, it has been a really challenging task to work when we are virtually connected in different parts of the world. We have a service team in India, we have a COE team in UK, and we have a developing team in Germany. So how did we manage to do this? So that is something that we need to debate about, because we were so engrossed and thinking about that we need to go to office to work every day, but COVID times have proven us that we necessarily not be at office to work effectively. It is okay to work remotely and still be connected to your teams and deliver quality goods. So we will see about the benefits of working from home and how Agile plays a major role here, and the scenarios of moving from virtual distributed Agile execution and framework benefits that we are witnessing these days. And the appendix. In the appendix, I would like to give some tips to the future entrepreneurs or future IT engineers, some tips on how to pursue your career. So I would like to suggest some courses on some project management technologies that can be implemented and that can be really useful for even the faculty as well, because most of my colleagues are really old, and I think they are probably 30 years, 35 years, and I'm just 25, and I'm still working with them. So I don't think you need experience to reach that level. I think a little amount of interest in the field that you're working is very much appreciated, no matter where you are. When I was doing my master's here, I had a couple of students who already had kids, and they used to bring their babies to the colleges because their husbands were working. So the scenario was pretty flexible because my professors were okay with it. And I would say age is never a barrier for your interests or goals. Who am I? So I am a 25-year-old senior consultant working with HCL Technologies here in Munich. So I used to do my bachelor's in India with KCG College of Technology, and it was in electronics and communication engineering. As a ECE graduate, I was very much interested in hardware, but I got recruited by Happiest Minds Technologies as a software developer, and I thought that was pretty much the option for me. And also I wanted to learn more about software industry as well, so I pursued that interest, and then I worked there for a couple of years as a front-end developer. I had to deal with AngularJS and a couple of other front-end technologies, and I later felt that I need to do my master's to increase my knowledge in both hardware and software technology. So I chose a group called Masters in High Integrity Systems. So it was in Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences. I did my master's, and on completion of the course, I got recruited by HCL Technologies as a senior consultant, and I was interning there for 6 months, and later both me and HCL decided that we would convert to a full-time employment. So when I say both me and HCL decided, yes, it's always both the ways. You cannot say my employer gave me a full-time job. I would say that it is you need both the hands to clap, and if you also want to pursue it, and if your employer also wants to pursue it, yeah, it's a good thing. So you can go ahead with pursuing it. So let's jump into the session for today. You can see DevOps. It's a single word, but you can divide it into half: development and operations. These are two main aspects of DevOps. So in the development side, we can see the development team would carry on these activities like fixing bugs and migrating to a new environment, or coding and deploying into production, and creating new products or enhancing new features and focusing on enabling business or information processing and business functions. So all these things are the developers' work, and they work as a team. And on the other side of the wall, you can see the operations team, and they are involved with creating and designing servers for the developers to work on, and the configuration of the code if needed for deployment, and scheduling of the deployment, maybe once a month or once in 2 months. It depends on the project that you're working on. And I would suggest we have the deployments in like probably a weekly ones or in more lesser time period, because when you have multiple changes, you can immediately work on that and act upon it, so you will not have so much chaos later. And then we can see they also manage administrative servers like user management, admins and everything. All these roles are carried out by the operations team. So they also perform certain compliance tasks, and they focus on enabling business and the system uptime and the mean time to repair, and the business continuity is also being managed by the operations team. So they serve as a glue between the service providers and the customers. I hope you remember the keywords that I told in my presentation on the first slide. So here you can see there's a wall between these two guys. So it is in the previous days, when they used to follow the traditional methods of coding and deployment, it used to be really difficult to communicate between the development team and the operations team. But these days, with DevOps implementation, I can assure you that the information that is being passed on from this side to the other is pretty fast. And if a person throws a ball from this side of the wall to the other side, it's pretty much easy to catch from the other side of the wall. So it means that there is an information flow and it is uninterrupted. And uninterrupted information and communication is very much required for running a project efficiently. So in our next slide, we can see that it is a funny joke that in the olden days, my dad used to say me that when you see an elephant, when a blind person sees an elephant, he touches the different parts of the elephant and thinks that the elephant looks sharp if he touches the horns of the elephant, or if he touches the ears, he says it's flat and broad and hard. So these are the different things that every blind person will say. But elephant as such is one animal, so you cannot say it's a soft, it's a rough, it's sharp or anything. So that is DevOps pretty much. So your whole project will be under the roof of DevOps, meaning you can monitor your project using Kanban boards or Miro boards or Trello boards using Microsoft Teams. It comes as a package, I think. Yeah, so we have everything in the Microsoft Teams, and it's pretty easy to manage and track the project management activities. And also here you can see DevOps is development and operations collaboration. So the word collaboration plays a major role here. So when you collaborate more, you come up with really amazing results. So when you're working on something and you have some issues on it, you want to contact your team members, or you want to contact the platform ops team to enable some access to you. So it's like this is Agile. That is why the topic was Agile for DevOps. So it can also be put as DevOps for Agile. They both work intertwined together. So you can see DevOps is using automation. It's like end-to-end automation. We have CI/CD pipelines and CM and a lot of other things, a lot of continuous delivery, continuous integration, and everything to work in order to achieve a full DevOps structure. So DevOps also encourages smaller deployments. It means, as I've said earlier, if you deploy your codes in smaller batches, it is much more efficient because if there are any errors or failures in some parts of the code, not necessarily the whole code needs to fail and you need to go back and make some changes, a lot of changes actually, if you're deploying in monthly ones or something. But if you are deploying in like weekly ones or lesser than that, I think it would be an ideal condition. Then you can say your project is working with respect to DevOps. So DevOps also uses switches, and it treats infrastructure as a code. In the next slide, you can see DORA metrics. This is one of the famous methods of measuring DevOps in a project. So when you have a 100 people project or a 50 people project, you can say that the DORA metrics plays a vital role in assessing where do we stand exactly and what's our target point, where do we go next. So this assessment can be made using the DORA metrics. And here you can see the first aspect of software delivery performance. We have deployment frequency. As I've said earlier, when you write a code and you deploy a code into production or release, the end user can see the visible change on a screen. So in this case, you have 4 different levels from low to elite. So in the lower level, you can see the deployment frequencies between once per month and once in every 6 months. That is really low. As I've said earlier, if you deploy it like that, the changes made or if there are any failures, it would be hard for you to retrieve your code and make changes over that and deploy it again. I think it would affect some parts of it. And if it is between once per week and once per month, it is still okay, but you would need to aim for a higher level between once per day and once per week. So if you are in higher level of DORA metrics, I would say your project needs to jump into elite level, where you can see that the deployments are happening as and on demand. So this is something that is advisable for every project owner. And the next aspect of DevOps metrics that you can see is lead time for changes. So it's nothing but how long does it take for a code to go from committed level to production. So we are using a lot of version control systems like GitHub repository, as you may all know, to commit a code and to push into deployment. So how long does it take from a code from a committed stage to run into production? So here also we have the 4 different levels from low till elite. So if the duration is less than 1 day, I think it would be elite for a project to run. And if it is in a lower level, if it is between 1 month and 6 months, it's really difficult for a person to I don't say it is the ideal case. It is really difficult for a person to work on. So in the next line, you can see time to restore services. Here this comes into picture when we have an unplanned outage or service impairment in our code. So in that case, the ideal level would be less than 1 hour. So when an end user faces a failure or he sees some deformities on the screen, so he raises a complaint, and then as soon as we know the complaint, we need to rectify it, and the end user should be able to see a normal screen, whether we are doing a rollback or anything. So how long does it take to restore the service? This also should be less than 1 hour, and if it is less than 1 day, it is still okay, but ideally we would need to reach less than 1 hour. And in the next aspect, we are seeing change in failure rate. Here also the change in failure rate should be very less when compared to the normal failure rate, like 0 to 15% is advised here. 46 to 60% is a lot, and we should ideally melt it down to 0 to 15%. So this might require a hotfix or a rollback or anything. So This all depends on how quick your team is and how efficient they are working hand in hand to resolve an issue. So it's the same slide. It's a continuation of the previous one. So here the DORA metrics are put into the groups of people, process, and technology. So every project has three aspects to it: people, process, and technology. In people, we can see that we are talking about Dreyfus skill mapping. It's nothing but skill evaluation for every individual. Where do they stand? How many portfolios they've handled, and what is their profile exactly? What they need to improve to reach the next level. That also has different levels of proficiency that one needs to improve on. And we also have diamond model of configuration and upskilling for full stack roles. So it's like it's always never too late. You cannot say that, oh, I've landed into a job and I'm gonna rest in peace. It's like you always need to upskill your skills to reach a higher level. So here you can see in the process, we start with KPI definitions and monitoring metrics. That would probably be the lowest level of the DORA, and we would slowly climb up the lane and reach the 0 Scrum Masters level, where the process flow is automatic and you don't need a human intervention. Of course, you will need a human intervention to monitor it, but it works in a distributed agile way. So in the technology, you can see there is dynamic analysis and CI traceability. There's nothing but continuous integration, traceability, and then we go to we are slowly improving to continuous delivery traceability in medium level, and then we are going to feature tagging and continuous builds, continuous testing, and then maybe in the final level we are reaching a pipeline as a code and canary releases and SREs. So this is the elite level that every project needs to achieve. And that's about DevOps. Let's dive into Agile or Waterfall. So probably you guys would have heard these terms from somewhere or the other, but what are these actually? These are nothing but project management methodologies. So Waterfall is a traditional methodology that has less customer involvement, and the changes can be pretty difficult, and a lot of last minute testing and a lot of hands-off approaches needed for Waterfall. So they have a set of steps that they follow, and Agile, when you see on the other hand, it's pretty adaptable and the quality is pretty high and it's user friendly and there is more customer involvement, and the deliverables are much flexible. So for a person like me, I think Agile would be the perfect fit. So when you see Waterfall versus Agile, you can see that it starts from requirements and it slowly falls down to maintenance. We have the requirement gathering phase with the customer, and then we have the design phase, and then the implementation phase and testing phase, and then finally we have the maintenance phase. So these are the Waterfall steps that we can see. But this is the traditional method, as I've said earlier. So Agile here is a cycle. It starts from the definition, design phase, testing phase, analysis, and then we have a backlog track that would be throughout the cycle, and then we have the deployment phase. So you can see Agile is much flexible, and it's like it's a cycle. So also I also wanted to say that some of them have asked me whether Waterfall is better or Agile is better. I would say it all depends on what kind of project that you're handling. If your project is a correct fit for Waterfall, you should go for Waterfall. But if it's a correct fit for Agile, I think you should go for Agile. But if the only problem with Waterfall is if you have any changes in any of these phases, you will have to again go back to the first stage and start from the scratch. It's like pretty organized, and the timescales are pretty fixed. But these days we know that change is the only thing that never changes, and we always have changes, and Agile is advisable methodology to work on. And I would also like to brief on the ways of working that are followed these days. We have tiered and swarm. As the name suggests, tiers have level 1 and level 2 and level 3. These are the specialized tiers with right skills to reduce escalations in any project, and the tiered teams will operate independent of each other. So you see there's no much communication here, and there are infrequent releases of newer functionality, and it is facilitated by trained teams, and we have a lot of tickets that are similar to each other. So in this case, you prefer tiered method of working, and it is ideal for stable systems and systems with high volume of repeaters and Phoenix Quadrant 4 and such systems. Yeah, and in Swarm, you can see, as the name suggests, it's like communication plays a major role here, and most tickets are unique and complex, and it has a single point of ownership that reduces WIP issues and resolving complex tickets, and focus on collaboration leads to better knowledge sharing. So we have a lot of support from the team members. If you face any challenges, I think you can always reach out to your team member, and they would help you out. So because most tickets are unique and complex, you cannot always know everything that you're handling, and supports are always great. So this kind of working is ideal for high change rate systems. When you have a large amount of changes that are happening that are more frequently, Swarm can be preferred, and this is most ideal for customer facing applications and Phoenix Quadrant 2 and Quadrant 3 kind of applications. So here we can see the summary of the business key features that are there in the IT field. We have custom support models, the team structured based on execution type. Based on how we execute, we can actually customize our support models accordingly. There is no book that you need to follow when you come to IT. You have to tailor your own needs, and you have to fit a proper clothes for your own need. So, and here we can see enhanced context. There is a wonderful collaboration of the ops team with the customer and the development team, as I've said earlier. So there should be an enhanced context, and we see when we hire people, we see mainly if they are verbal enough. We don't need people who can sit and work in a shell and say, okay, I have done my work for today. We don't need such people. We need people who are verbal, who are more willing to collaborate with the other team members and work efficiently. So you can see platform operations and common services work as a support team for a cluster, and observability and at scale means you are observing the project with the correct KPIs and XLAs. So this is a monitoring system, and we can achieve this using a right tooling that are suggested by our architects. Maybe our senior DevOps guys, they can suggest us what could be possibly used here, and DevOps driven approach. So I would think this part should also be the roof of the whole project management, but yeah, it comes as a portion of the business key features. Here we can see the teams are converged to build and run teams for one engineering culture. So in this way, we can achieve a really good and fast deliverable that are really required by the customer. So here in the next word, we say business and IT convergence. Teams are aligned to business functions. So it is necessary for every team to be aligned to the business function. You cannot work according to your will. You really need to work according to the requirements that are put forth on the table. So this is the reason I came from custom support models and ended in business IT convergence. It goes like a clockwise thing, but you can see the business and IT convergence could also be a roof above the DevOps. So you can also see it that way. This is my favorite slide. Here you can see that in this pandemic situation, we're all working far away from each other, but still we are connected and we are working hand in hand in delivering the project to the customer. So our deliverables are not really impacted by any situations that are happening around the world. So at least for HCL, it's the case I've seen. So it has actually increased the productivity, and we have reduced a lot of cost, and there has been a lot of efficiency in terms of delivering a product as well. So I would say working from home is really a good option for everyone. We have broken the stereotypes of going to office and working in a cubicle and being in an environment. We don't really need that. We are still virtually connected with our teams to communicate in regular intervals, and if there are any challenges that we are facing, we can always raise a ticket and we can always communicate with our team members. So it is not really an issue. So people working from India, UK and Europe, everyone are going to be treated the same because we are all working from home and not from any office location. But some people have posted questions like, is it okay even if we continue the same work from home method post-COVID situation? But I would say no, because we need to be closer to the location that we are working for to match the time zones. So it is much easier and efficient to deliver the project without any discrepancies. So I think this is a valid point that everyone would have thought about. Even if we are working from home post-COVID situations, I would suggest that we have some multiple meetings at office that we need to go and see, and the salary level also cannot be made the same because we are all working for different locations, and the cost of living differs according to the location. So this also has to be taken into account. So we can see here there's a Trello project tracking tool that is a very interesting tool that you need to check out, not only for project management. I do it for my day-to-day activities. I have a personal Trello board that I have my stickies on to my to-dos and my planned things, and so in that way I can be organized. I think for students, you guys can also have Trello boards with your normal Gmail IDs and then be organized what you're going to study today. You can have your timelines, deadlines, and or like if you have completed it or not. So it's a really an interesting tool. And here you can see the benefits of virtually distributed using the Agile framework. Here we can see that there is a reduction in ops spend about 30%, and there has been an increased collaboration between the business and the ops team in the COVID times. And this has been achieved only by having an Agile framework. If we are having a Waterfall methodology, I don't think it would be easy for us to communicate easily and work collaboratively. There has been an improvement in operational efficiency for about 20%. This survey has been taken all over the world with respect to HCL delivering the products, and there has been a 40% reduction in resolution times. So I would say that there has been an optimized spend due to differentiated support models. So this has really been, the COVID has really been an important game changer in IT industry. So we have really broken all the stereotypes. So here we can see all the three scenarios of moving to virtually distributed Agile execution. The three scenarios, it starts from 40% onshore and 60% offshore people. It's still not ideal. We tried with 20% and 80% on-site and offshore. We had all the below mentioned challenges here. We had like 15% cost savings and dual track Agile, and it was pretty hard to maintain. So in scenario 3, you can see 35 and 65% on-site and offshore execution. Here we are measuring story points per pricing using small, medium or large squads, and then here we have Scrum Master, business analysts and STETs all on site, and all roles are remote, and it's 49% cost saving. So this is the scenario 3 is the model that we are following right now in this COVID situation. This has been a really efficient model that has worked out pretty well for all of us. And in the framework benefits, it means the benefits that we are achieving using the virtually distributed framework. We, as I've said earlier, we have achieved a lot of cost efficiency of about 20 to 50% in execution over the current strategies. And talent-wise, we are able to leverage a lot of talents from our talent pool and digital specialists across the globe. And this method is resilient because the impact of virtually distributed agile framework it has really no impact. I would say it only has positive impacts and no negative impacts, so it's business as usual. And in diversity, we can see we are having a rich culture and a dynamic team that work hand in hand to deliver the products. And in the agile methodology here, we can see that it covers the major part here: talent, resilience, diversity, cost efficiency. This all can be achieved by having an agile framework, and when your team is following all these parameters in a project, so it is really efficient. Thank you for listening patiently to my session, and I hope I tried to keep it simple as it was for the UG graduates. Let's move on to the appendix. Not necessarily every BE graduate should be a software engineer. Yes, this is something which I was not told when I completed my BE. When I came with my job offer, my family was really happy and they were all supportive of it. And they thought that was the best for me, and even I thought the same thing. But yeah, it was best for me that time, but given a chance, if I was directed in a different way that time, I would have pursued my career in a management field, maybe because I always feel that I'm a better manager than engineer. So but you also need to know all the nuances of engineering to be a better manager someday. So it's all interlinked. So I completed ECE, and then I was selected, and then I joined a software engineering company. But you can have your own path. It's like you can always tailor your own set of goals, and you can follow it always. There's nothing that's stopping you. So probably if you wanna pursue your MBA, you should probably apply for some MBA courses in your nearby universities and in B schools, or you should do some project management courses that I would say in my next slide. Or if you want to pursue your career overseas, you would need to write IELTS. For Germany, for my university, it was not needed, IELTS, but German course is preferred when you're coming to Germany, because everything is written in German here and you will not understand anything, even the boards on top of the bathroom or anything, everything is German. So I would suggest you complete some German levels, A1 or A2, and then come to Germany, apply for masters and come to Germany. Let's get there. For applying for masters, you need not go through some agencies that are ripping off a lot of money from you. Probably you can just apply online, choose the universities that you want on Google, and with your preferred courses. So a lot of courses are free in Germany, so you should probably go through that. So you only need to pay for your accommodation and your food. That would probably be some 7,000 euros per year. As a student, I had that, and with that amount of money, I was also able to travel around the world. I was also doing some part-time jobs as a student, so I was able to balance it. So I think it's a enriching experience to come abroad and to meet new people with speaking new languages and studying in a really good environment. So you will learn a lot of things because in India we're always spoon-fed and we don't need to worry about the next meal, but here you have to cook your next meal, so you really have to be equipped for that. And also I would say once you are abroad, you would need to start applying for internships in all possible companies. So in order to reach that level, in order for the company to select you, you need to complete some courses beforehand in India. Because why I'm saying this, because in India it's very cheaper and it is affordable, so you can complete it there. Once you come here, it's pretty expensive for you to apply for a course. So what I do sometimes when I go to India for vacation or something, I will be finishing some of my courses and learning, or probably I'll be learning from here. I will go write the exams and then I will come back here. So that is how I was being able to financially manage things. And when I was a student, yeah. And I also suggest that you should be open for working part-time anywhere and anytime. Even if you're in India, I would suggest that you can take some part-time classes for students, maybe for your younger generation, for school children or anything. And so you even if your parents are funding you, the attitude that you need to do part-time jobs is really important to manage a life abroad. So that's pretty much it. I think that was a lot of gyan from my side. Hope the tips were useful. And you need to have a minimum of at least 70% when you're graduating from your bachelor. So make sure you always aim for 80% and above, so you are able to apply for masters abroad. And you can, if you're lucky enough like me, you can even pursue some free courses. So you just need to pay for your accommodation and food, so as I've said earlier. So also I would like to suggest some courses for the younger generation. We have SAFe Certified Scrum Master, PMI Agile Certified Practitioner, and Prince 2 Foundation and Advanced. This was completed by me. And I find it very interesting for an undergraduate student to do this and improve their project management skills. And if there are a lot of institutes out there that you can Google and find out, probably you should choose the one that is close to you, and you should be able to do these courses. Some courses are available online, but only for the exam's sake you need to go in person. And you can see Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. It is not some karate green belt. It is also a technology oriented course. And you can see DevOps beginners course on Udemy. I found it really useful. They talk about Dockers, and big data analytics also covers Hadoop and everything. If you're really interested in how all these huge millions and billions of data are covered using covered and managed using big data, I think you should probably do a course on big data analytics. And if you're interested in cloud computing, you should do some cloud computing introduction courses and some courses on SFTC. And these days, Salesforce has been changing the way we work at companies. So I would say there has been a huge demand for Salesforce certified personals. So if you have interest, you need to Google a little bit about Salesforce and try to complete some certifications regarding Salesforce and Service Cloud. Maybe I think there's app development and service and management and everything. Salesforce is another world, totally another world. So probably if you are interested, you need to dive into that. So again, it is all in your hands. You need to choose what you want in life. I can only show you the options, but you have to be clear enough to decide what you actually want in life. So that was pretty much it. Thank you so much for listening, and if you have any queries, maybe in the comment box below I will write my email ID. You can drop me an email if you have any queries regarding what to do with your career or what to pursue. And if you have any DevOps or Agile doubts also, you may as well write to me. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Ms. Blessy. That was an awesome session. You've given a very great heads up for all those budding graduates who are aspiring for a successful career. So I'm sure that all the participants here have a long list of takeaways from the session. So thank you for spending your valuable time with us. Now I would like to invite Mrs. Chitra Evangeline Christina ma'am to propose a vote of thanks.
Good morning, one and all. I consider it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. First of all, I thank Lord Almighty for helping us to conduct this webinar in a successful way. Next, I thank the resource person, Ms. Leslie Victoria, solution architect from Germany, for sharing her knowledge and expertise on this field. Thank you, Blessy ma'am. It's my pleasure to thank the management for giving us the provisions and support for organizing this webinar. I feel happy to thank Mrs. Priska, HOD of EC department, for her continuous motivation, and the coordinators, Niranjana ma'am, Francie ma'am, Chitra ma'am, and all the staff members of EC department for their contribution. Thank you, team. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants for being a part of the session. Without you all, we can't imagine our success. Thank you, one and all. Once again, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, the feedback link will be posted in the chat box. Kindly fill it and send. You will be provided an e-certificate for your participation. Thank you. Thank you all.